Hey guys, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn, and today is my 100th video. Yeah, it's a big deal. So for my 1 year anniversary of my channel, I did the top 10 Jedi. So I figured for my 100th video, I might as well do top 10 Darksiders. Now, you're probably wondering why isn't it called top 10 Sith? Because some characters on here, for example, Inquisitors, Pong Krell, and Ventress aren't actually Sith, but they do use the dark side of the Force, so I'm calling it top 10 Darksiders. Also, just a quick note, I'm sticking to the main things people know, like shows, movies, and Jedi Fallen Order. But if I was including other stuff like Legends, Starkiller, you'd be in second. Anyway, let's get into this video. At number 10, I have the Grand Inquisitor. I don't know what it was, just like everything about him when he's first introduced in Rebels was threatening. Like the way he is so much more powerful than Kanan and Ezra, and he's just mopping the floor with them when they fight. Or just his look in general is threatening. Like everything about him was threatening in Rebels. His eyes, his voice, everything. Then Kenobi came along and kind of ruined him, and that's why he's in 10th and not higher on this list. Because, man, if not, like, I like the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels, and I'm okay with him in Kenobi, but they just really screwed him up in Kenobi and didn't do it justice. In Kenobi, he barely looks like the Grand Inquisitor. Okay, he looks enough like him to tell that it's him. He doesn't sound like him, and he's just lost everything that made him threatening in Rebels. So, the Grand Inquisitor is in 10th for this video. In 9th, I have Pong Krell. Now, Krell is a character you're made to hate, and he definitely earns your hatred. But he is still a great villain for the Clone Wars Umbara arc, where he makes clones kill each other by saying that the enemy has stolen clone armor and is here. So he makes clones kill each other, and he purposely makes clones go on these suicide missions, and it's a great because he wants Dooku to accept him by making the Republic have losses on the battlefield. And they're small enough that no Jedi is realizing it, and it really makes the Umbara arc great. It's one of the best Clone Wars arcs out there. And it wouldn't have been as great if they didn't have a villain in it like Pong Krell. Number 8, I have Savage Opress. I always liked Savage. I thought before Clone Wars made Maul great, I thought Savage was immediately better than Maul. And then Clone Wars made Maul great, and I realized that was just dumb, and that, yes, Maul is definitely better than Savage. Clancy Brown voices Savage, which is already a great thing, because he voices all the greats, including Mr. Krabs. And he does a great job with Savage. But yeah, Savage is tough, he's a bit brutish, but that makes him even stronger, and he's just very powerful. I mean, who else could take on Dooku, Ventress, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and, like, not all at the same time, but some of them at the same time. He doesn't beat Dooku, but actually he does at one point, but still, like, he takes on all those people. Who else could do that? Not many people. Number 7, I have my favorite Inquisitor, Trilla. Trilla from Jedi Fallen Order just has such an amazing backstory of why she betrayed the Jedi and turned evil. And I think it's a great backstory where her master basically sold her out and she turned evil then. Like, she was supposed to protect these younglings and her master gave up her position, and Trilla, it broke her and she turned evil. So now she hunts Jedi, and it's a great backstory for her. Plus, she's a great villain in Jedi Fallen Order. And yeah, Trilla was just a great character in Jedi Fallen Order. So she earned 7th. Number 6, I have Count Dooku. If you would have asked me this top 10 before Tales of the Jedi, Dooku probably would have been way lower on this list. Like, he might not have even made the top 10. Because he was always just sort of plain in the prequels. I didn't have anything against him. He just never had anything unique about him. But after Tales of the Jedi, I actually really liked Dooku, and to the point it's tough for me to decide if I like him more or less than the person I have in 5th place. But I ultimately came up with Dooku as in 6th. But yeah, Dooku's always had a cool lightsaber, and now he has a cool backstory where he thought that the Jedi were just not the Jedi anymore, so he turned evil after Qui-Gon died. I've gone into detail about this in my Tales of the Jedi review, but a brief summary is Dooku didn't want to betray the Jedi. He thinks that the Jedi have betrayed people and have just become the Senate's dogs, basically. And he doesn't want that. And the only thing that was keeping him to the Jedi was Qui-Gon. And when Qui-Gon died, he left the Jedi and joined Palpatine. And he didn't even want to kill Yaddle. Yaddle was trying to help him, but in the end he did. And without Tales of the Jedi, I don't think Dooku would have been as great as he was. Number 5, I have Asajj Ventress. Whenever I would watch Clone Wars, I always found Ventress more interesting than Dooku. Mainly because, well, she can take on Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, sometimes at the same time with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and walk away unscathed, like without even a single scratch. Not many people could do that, and it's just great to see her. Plus, she's a Night Sister, and without her, we never would have found out anything about the Night Sisters. We probably would have never even had the Night Sisters in Star Wars, or at least in canon. And yeah, she's great. I do wish we could have gotten her Clone Wars arc that would have been how she died, and where she fell in love with Quinlan Vos, and how he betrays the Jedi. I do wish we could have gotten those episodes instead of them just as books, but they're fine as books. Ventress has great stuff, where she goes from Sith apprentice to betraying the Sith because she was betrayed by them, to kind of, not exactly a Jedi, but she helps the Jedi in the end. She went from Jedi to Sith to Night Sister to kind of sort of Jedi in the end. And it's great, where she's one of the last of the Night Sisters, and then she became a bounty hunter. She just has a great arc throughout the entirety of Clone Wars. Plus, she has 2 lightsabers that can combine to make a sort of staff, but not really. And then they just kind of got rid of that feature right away in the Clone Wars movie. But yeah, Ventress was always a great character, and it was hard for me to decide after Tales of the Jedi if I liked her more or less than Dooku. Number 4, I have Darth Maul. Now, some of you might be saying Maul should be higher, which, in truth, he probably should be, but not on my list. Now, before the Clone Wars, Darth Maul was this villain that everybody liked because of how cool he looked and that he had a double-bladed lightsaber. But in Phantom Menace, he's not actually that cool after Clone Wars, because in Clone Wars, you give him this amazing backstory and great just things that happen to him. And then in Phantom Menace, he's only got like one line, and then he has one great action scene. But yeah, if not for Clone Wars, Darth Maul probably would have... Okay, he might have made 10th, but if not for Clone Wars, Darth Maul would suck, okay? Maul is amazing in Clone Wars, where he survived because of revenge for Kenobi. And then he's even, like, they make him slightly better in Rebels, too, where he still is hunting for Kenobi because that's all that's keeping him alive. His lust for revenge on Obi-Wan. That's the only thing that's keeping Maul alive. Plus, he gets the Darksaber, and just, like, Maul has so many great things that happen with his character in Clone Wars and Rebels. And then his final duel with Obi-Wan in Rebels is great. Number 3, I have Kylo Ren. Now, most people don't like the sequels, and I'm not one of those people. I do like them. And I really like Kylo Ren. I think he might be the best character from the sequels. Now, a ton of people don't like his turn back to good in Rise of Skywalker, but I actually do. And anyway, Kylo Ren is great. He's not better than Vader, but he's still great in that he looks up to Vader. And he has a cool lightsaber, yes. It's one of the first ones to craggle like that. Plus, its crossguard is amazing. Couldn't think of the word for a second. His mask is pretty cool. I do prefer his mask in Rise of Skywalker when it has the red that's holding it together. That's cool. And Kylo Ren just has a good arc, in my opinion, throughout the entirety of the sequels, where he goes from evil to even more evil to his final, like, coming back to the good side of the Force, the light side, where he even sacrifices himself to save Rey. Whether you like the sequels or not, this is just my opinion. This is not an official ranking of Sith, okay? I'm not someone who, like, this is just my opinion, okay? And if you don't like the sequels, oh well, because I kind of do. So, yeah. Anyway, number 2, I have Darth Sidious. Otherwise known as Emperor Palpatine, or Chancellor Palpatine, or just Sheev Palpatine. But anyway, Palpatine is, like, okay, so we're first introduced to Vader in A New Hope. Then in Empire Strikes Back, we get a quick scene with Palpatine. But then, in Return of the Jedi, we get Palpatine himself. And he is better than, like, if you had expectations for him when you first watch Empire, they're more than greeted with Return of the Jedi, where he is just so evil and he always has a backup plan. Sure, his plans may get a little worse as they go on, like his first plan to use the clones to kill the Jedi, that was a great plan. His second plan, it's a little worse, where he just wants to rule the galaxy and he second Death Star. Not as good, but still good. And then he kind of goes off the rails with just repeating his last plan in Rise of Skywalker, but oh well. And it's not JJ's fault that they didn't introduce Palpatine in Last Jedi. That would have been great if they did, but it's not his fault. I like Palpatine all the way to the end. He's got Force Lightning, which not that many people do in canon, at least. There's him, Dooku, and Rey. And I guess Plo Koon because of the comics, but he's more of light side Force Lightning. But anyway, yeah, Palpatine is like the ultimate evil in Star Wars, and it's great to see him in everything. Like, even his cameos in Bad Batch are great. His episodes in Clone Wars, they're good. His appearances in Rebels, also good. Like, everything he's in, he is good, in my opinion. Because he's the ultimate form of evil in Star Wars. Okay, it's obvious who I have in first place. Darth Jar Jar. I mean, who is better than Darth Jar Jar? No one. Jar Jar Binks is the ultimate Sith Lord. I'm just kidding. You know who's in first place. Darth Vader. Everything Vader is in, he is always awesome. Now, there is no debate of who should be the best villain of Star Wars. It's Vader. He's the main villain of it. I mean, sure, Palpatine is, but still, Vader is great, okay? He goes from this kid on Tatooine to a Jedi Knight, to denied Jedi Master, to Sith Lord, who just is always going beast mode, and he is amazing. He's like one of the... If you're thinking of a villain from a franchise, odds are Vader is one of the top 3 that comes into your head. I'm assuming the Joker is another one, and maybe Voldemort is your third. But anyway, Vader, amazing. He will always go down as one of the greatest villains in all of fiction. His beast mode scene in Rogue One is amazing. Even, I wish some of his stuff from Legends could be like The Force Unleashed. I mean, yes, Starkiller is way overpowered, but I want The Force Unleashed to be canon in some way. But yeah, Vader... Always awesome to see Vader in anything he pops up in. Just, Vader is amazing. He is the best Sith Lord. Anyway, now that that's over, if you aren't staying for my channel 100th video thing, you can go now. But for those of you who do watch my channel, this is my 100th video, and it was really great making all these videos. Now, in case you haven't noticed, there has been an increase in Black Series reviews, and I intend on my channel doing that a lot more. Videos like this will still happen, just at a slower rate, and I intend on mainly focusing on Black Series reviews from now on. My next video will be a review of the Mario movie, and then probably a Black Series review, because that's where I intend on taking my channel. This was great, 100th video. Anyway, this is Grand Admiral Thrawn signing off, and I look forward to our next encounter in my next video.